What is the equivalent of Apple removed 3.5mm jack of your favorite products? Google News was great at the beginning. Every single change made to it by Google has made it worse. Also, there's no alternative to Google News that does a good job of aggregating a variety of reporting viewpoints on a single news topic. Google News has me in this weird bubble of stories that I have zero interest in. Like yes, Google. One time in 2019 I looked up the cast of Schitt's Creek. I don't need to see every story that mentions them for the rest of eternity. Miller welding machines having slightly different threads on welding tips, a consumable part, so that you are forced to buy Miller brand welding tips. Several times I've found myself out in the field, nearly done, and the tip gets clogged. It's a quick easy fix if you have a replacement tip. Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace, all the big box stores carry regular tips but they don't carry Miller. I have to drive to a specialty welding store to get the Miller tip. Because I live in a big city, and there are only a few of these stores in the city. Chances are they are far away. There is no chance in heck I can get across town and get back to the job to finish. My day is done. These parts cost maybe a quarter. Freaking hate when companies don't conform to industry standards. There comes a point where I'd be tempted to chase that thread with a tap for the industry standard and pray it works. In Australia, Heinz removed the classic 420 grams can of baked beans and replaced it with 3 different sizes, none of which are the appropriate amount of beans. I no longer eat Heinz beans. This is by far my favorite Reddit comment of the month. I picture you grabbing a can of beans, taking it home, cooking them up but it's not enough beans. So you go back and buy the bigger can. Now it's too many freaking beans. But like not enough to put some in a Tupperware to save. So you just got extra beans. Hahaha, I don't know why this is just killing me. Hilarious. Many years ago on Xbox 360 you could watch Netflix with your homies. Your avatars would show up in a movie theater and you could even emote to the movie. So many good times were had just bullshitting watching random crappy Netflix movies back then. Then out of nowhere, they just took it away. I still get sad thinking about it. Not that it is exactly the same, but my friends and I all hop in Discord together and pick a movie, TV show, whatever, and one of us streams for the rest of us. Closest thing we have found to that so far. I have severe skin allergies, so finding soaps and cosmetics that don't cause irritation is difficult. When I find something that works, the worst thing ever is seeing new and improved formula stamped on the bottle. Same with toothpastes. I get a lot of canker sores, and I learned there is a certain chemical, sodium lauryl sulfate, that causes them. Trying to find a toothpaste that doesn't have this ingredient is ridiculous. I ended up having to buy this crazy expensive Sensodyne paste because it was literally the only one in the store that didn't have SLS. I searched this whole thread, and I don't see a big one. Craftsmen altering the lifetime warranty of their hand tools so much so that it's a shell of what it used to be. There was a time not so long ago you could take any busted Craftsman tool, no matter where you got it or how you broke it, and get it swapped out. It truly was a tool for life. Can't do that anymore. Certainly not coincidentally, the quality of their tools overall has declined along with the removal of the lifetime replacement. Apps that had no need for a subscription now requiring a subscription. Like freaking Alarmy. Great alarm app and it helped get me up, but I am not paying monthly for a freaking alarm. I'd be willing to pay like £5 for it, but it can frick off otherwise. Most CD booklets don't have much artwork anymore. I used to listen to albums whilst looking at the artwork and reading the lyrics. Very few albums have that now. I used to love buying a CD and then reading the lyrics. Not all albums had lyrics, but most of the CDs I bought did. YouTube has been pushing a lot more ads onto me recently. Cable and internet providers are the masters of constantly providing less and trying to charge more for it. The original Xbox let you rip CDs to the hard drive so you could have custom soundtracks in a lot of games. Burnout and GTA 3/Vice City San Andreas were so much fun with your own killer soundtrack. This is such an overlooked feature that nobody talks about. I loved having custom music in my games, especially racing games like NFS or Midnight Club. Spotify removing a lot of features. particularly the ability to view the entirety of your library sorted however you like. Sortable libraries are such a basic feature of music services and they just freaking ditched it. Now when you view your library it's just a mix of played recently and whatever Spotify decides to show you. To add insult to irritability, 9 times out of 10 searching your own library doesn't yield results even when you have songs downloaded. They've been actively making the service worse for years now, but finding a replacement has been disappointing. Spotify seems so insistent on everyone using the app the way they want. Like unless you're the kind of user who makes 1000 different playlists for every conceivable mood, you're not going to be catered to with most features. Some of the things they've taken away have blown my mind. It's like they're to become some weird social media app instead of just playing music. My favorite frozen pizza brand used to have round pizzas that were packaged in a cardboard box that could be used to slide the pizza onto and then be used as a plate. No fuss, no mess. Now, it is a frozen rectangle in a bag. The shame tottiness, the chamois. I feel you on this one. The plastic bag also means more harmful plastic waste than the old cardboard box that would have biodegraded. I don't mind the pizza being square though. Cadbury Dairy Milk no longer exists. The recipe is the product. You can't change the recipe and expect us not to notice. Shrinkflation isn't even a problem if the recipe hadn't been changed. CDM is supposed to have a slight crumble, but it is now a squidgy palm oil filled mess. Kraft Mondelez have adulterated something that, although not gourmet, was the gold standard of the mass market. It is now just cheap crap like everything else. Nobody asked for this. I was willing to pay the slight premium, but boosting revenue by cutting costs on ingredient was more important to you. Along with that is being lied to our face by corporate non-entities who claim it is the same. I remember. Palm oil has ruined so many classic candies and snacks, cookies, you name it. In addition, it is ruining the planet. I hate the stuff with a passion. Word going subscription based. I don't care about the latest and greatest features. I just want a word processor. I've got it via a family sharing thing, but it seems to forget yearly and nags me to pay. When they started removing IR from mobile phones, Samsung products, in my case, so I could no longer use them with TV remote apps to control different TVs. We used to mess around with the projector at school using the IR function. Samsung proudly said that they wouldn't remove the charger from their new phones like Apple, and they did just that with the S21 apparently. Samsung are infamous for boasting about not having done the latest stupid thing Apple's done, then doing it a couple years later. Only reason I have a Samsung work phone is because the alternative was an iPhone. Laptops have less and less I/O, like it's being replaced with docks, but that kinda defeats the purpose of a laptop in the first place. My laptop has a Thunderbolt, 2 USBs, a headphone jack, an HDMI port, and an Ethernet jack. That's honestly above average for a laptop these days, but it feels pretty skimpy. When Samsung did the same, or when EA decided to go back to individual blocks instead of entire neighborhoods for The Sims 4. I enjoy The Sims 4, but The Sims 3 was so cool in having entire towns. Cars with no spare tire, many new cars with no dipstick to check the oil. Downward spiral of not being able to fix your own things is outrageous, but people keep buying this crap. Cars tying radios to the rest of the functionality of the car, killing off any chance of replacing a stock unit with a third party. The Altoids from about 15 years ago in the metal tin that weren't just powdery mints, but little candies coated in powdered sugar. I realized one day I never saw them anywhere anymore and haven't been the same since. New Reddit removing the ability to quickly read comment chains, finding the permalink, being able to quickly go to the parent comment, being able to go to someone profile during an AMA and easily read their Q&As. Now you can't even see what people are responding to without clicking the comment, removing pretty much everything that made Reddit functional on your mobile phone. Really every design change Reddit made in the last 5 years. You can pry the old layout from my cold, dead hands. Sony removed the ability to play CDs from the PS4 onward. I've used every PlayStation to listen to CDs instead of buying a CD player. Old Lego Club magazines. I remember when I first got them as a kid, I would flip through the catalog pages of all the available sets. There were specific ads for themes as well as comic books, but the set catalog was why I was there. Then in 2010 or 2011, I do not remember, they got rid of the catalog portions, which made the magazines pretty fat, and only left the ads, announcements and comics. I liked flipping through the pages and seeing all the sets and prices. Heck, that was how I made my Christmas and birthday wish lists. I remember in the 90s the Lego Club magazines would include an album of mocks submitted by fans. That was awesome. COD multiplayer lobbies are no more. It resets every match. After the match, those players are gone. The better graphics aren't worth what we lost. Yeah, it was fun having little mini parties with the same people just playing for hours and then adding people to your friends list before you left. Nowadays games just assume you have friends to invite join. There's no actual social aspect to most games anymore. One of my favorite German words is Versklimmbesserung. It's the word Verbesserung, improvement, merged with the word Versklimmerung, deterioration, improvisation. It's used for when people try to improve something but actually make it worse overall. That's an awesome word. Apple removed the SD card slot on MacBook Pro. As a photographer, why? It didn't even take up any internal space. And this is supposed to be a tool for creative professionals. I haven't upgraded my 7-year-old Pro because I'm just holding out hope that they put one back in there. Maybe it just gets snuck back in and Tim Cook doesn't notice? Red Rose Tea used to have collectible figurines. There was always a theme. Then one day I open up my box of tea and no figurine. I quit buying Red Rose Tea. I miss when video games had instruction books that actually told you about how to play the game and maybe had some lore. I know a lot of the time all that's in the game itself, but still. Google Images removed the extra large and the larger than X sizes. And they took away the UI that shows you how big an image is. That makes it pretty much useless imo. I love Samsung Health. Like I ended up convincing my friends to get Samsung phones because I loved it so much. I lost a lot of weight using their weight management tool. Last year they took it out back and put it down. They removed the weight management tool and caffeine tracking. They kept the step counter and food calorie input, but like they have been slowly stripping the app and at this point it's a glorified step counter. Could I go to another system? I could, but I'm pretty mad. It was a great and clear feature that I genuinely loved using and was on my track to being healthier and nothing else feels the same. I got pretty discouraged afterwards and have been maintaining but not losing weight because I really don't enjoy any other trackers I used. It was a native everything I needed in one place app. Now I have to use more than one app and hate the UI UX on all of them. Totally agree. They also have made the step counter so much more useless. You used to be able to zoom in on different times so it was easier to figure out how many steps I took during a walk or something. Now just have to guesstimate. Smartboard charging for updates. Not a favorite, but schools bought these not thinking they would have to shell out for updates. I still don't get why they wasted all that money. The teachers didn't know how to use them. Most of the teachers didn't like them. The teachers lost half their blackboard. The blackboard became hard to see from the sides of the room. And there were stupid computer security issues. BC teachers wouldn't disconnect the smartboard when doing various tasks on the PC. Cosmopolitan, the magazine. As a teenager I read one my GF had in math class once, and for some reason just kept reading them. For 10 years. 10 years. I bought it every month. When I was deployed I had my wife buy it and send me a copy each month. On my bookshelf, I have them all lined up, because if you have an entire year of Cosmo, the spine of the magazine actually has a guy on it. It's usually their hot guy of the year or whatever you call it. Well, in 2019, Cosmo decided frick that, and they got rid of the guy on the spine. I can't tell you guys how much satisfaction I got when I finished the year out and could see the whole guy. It's really dumb because I'm straight, and I don't really care about it beyond like knowing I finished something. But Cosmo got rid of the guy and I haven't bought another issue since. I really cannot stress how deeply upset I was about this. Similar to this, a couple years ago Celestial Seasonings simplified their artwork on their boxes. I wrote a letter and I got back coupons with a sorry you feel that way letter. About 6 months later I got okay, we get it. We're going back to the old design letter with more coupons. They changed the 5 flavor lifesavers. No more lime or pineapple? What the heck? Similarly, replacing lime with green apple in Skittles. I don't know what the obsession with green apple is, but I'm not happy with the change. Green apple Skittles ruined the entire handful. You used to be able to shake the bag and get a few in your hand, pop them in your mouth and chew to your heart's content. But this is no longer the case. You can't enjoy Skittles in the dark anymore, like movie theaters, because you have to sit there and cull those fucking green apple garbage pieces out. Absolutely terrible choice on their part. Amazon removed the page buttons on the Kindles since 2013. Yes, the really expensive new ones as buttons, but I'm quite happy with my 7-year-old one. Would like a backlight though. Couldn't stand the touchscreen thing. Fingerprints all over and being a lefty really a struggle changing page. Not sure if it counts, but Apple taking away the ability to upgrade your RAM and hard drive on laptops. I still have my 2012 MacBook cause I was able to max out RAM to 16GB, add an SSD, and replace the battery when the last one failed. It wasn't even difficult, but now all these parts are either soldered or glued in the case of the battery. Really makes me not want an upgrade since this one still does everything I need it to do as a laptop. When most games, in particular FPS, stopped caring about modding or the ability to have community servers, now everything is freaking microtransactions and matchmaking. Matchmaking especially completely killed the opportunity to build communities from inside the game, and combined with the lack of community servers, with trusted admins, encouraged macho I am a special snowflake lead gamer toxic attitudes, which encourages botting and cheating, which can't be dealt with because nobody has ban rights. Throwback to the TF2 Meet Your Match update, which was quite possibly the worst update to the game. Everyone removing the T9 keyboard, so now my tremor and I have to deal with tiny QWERTY keyboards on touch screens. HDMI import on the Xbox. I'm one of the apparently few people who was very excited about the possibility for the Xbox One to be the box for TV with everything running into it. It's so nice to be able to not touch a remote and just use an Xbox for it all. Our Switch is connected to the Xbox and is run through there. Volume is controlled by the Xbox. Just makes everything simple and so nice to not have to change inputs. But apparently it wasn't super pro gamer enough, so no more of that. Until the Series XS came out, I didn't actually realize they removed that. I like that feature. Why the frick does music in all of its forms not come with lyrics? Used to come in some cassettes and CDs. But why can't Spotify play full lyrics? I know some songs have that partial lyrics story bulls. Furthermore, why don't artists release full lyrics with all of their crap? It would be so freaking easy, 10 minutes of asking typing. But no, if I look up the lyrics to any song, it's always gonna be some crowdsource bulls that is usually only like 7,590% right. As a singer and an appreciator of lyrics, it's goddamned infuriating. It makes it hard to listen to some kinds of music, and even some artists depending on the song. Once I know the lyrics, I'm good, but sometimes it's tough to pick up everything when listening to mumble rappers or metal bands, and even with lyric forward people I just like to make sure I'm right. Apple Music has lyrics included with a lot of the songs. Not all, but a good chunk at least. I think it depends on the artist. I didn't buy this product, I inherited it, but still, I have a Bose soundbar for my television. The only way to interact with it is through a remote. There are no built-in controls on the device itself. Power, volume, sync, nothing. Lose the remote and you have a paperweight. Related, the Oculus Rift 2 will be usable only to those with a Facebook account. When my current Rift breaks, I'm going to move away from Oculus hardware until they change their bulls rule. Not necessarily removing something but including too much. I want a non-smart TV. I have external devices on all my TVs. I don't need their software. Also, why can't we get a built-in antenna tuner? I hope TV technology stays as stagnant as it has for the past decade. I freaking despise the fact that modern TVs can get away with screenshotting themselves, sending the pictures back to the manufacturer to see what you're watching, then using that to advertise to you in menus. It's only a matter of time before they don't let you turn it on without an internet connection. I just got a Tesla electric vehicle, and nearly everything is controlled on this big iPad thing. There are days when I wish that they had added a few more manual controls, like for the headlights and windshield wiper speed. Essential car controls should not be featured on a touch screen. You don't use a touch screen while looking away. Google Reader. Google killed it to save a tiny bit of money and push its users to worse system. It was a great way to follow blogs and discuss them with friends. RIP. Bungie removing 80% of Destiny 2 and sunsetting most of the weapons to keep things fresh and charged full price for the DLC still for less of a game. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.